Welcome to part 2 of Aleister Crowley and the Loch Ness Monster. The Monster. Crowley's time at Boleskine was littered with misfortune. His lodge keeper lost both of his children within a year, and his housekeeper also lost her 2 children. And Crowley boasted of an estate employee that got drunk and tried to kill his family. But it was what came after Crowley left Boleskine that has captured the imagination of the world. And that is an old-timey sea monster now affectionately named Nessie. Monsters in the water were a common sight amongst the people of Scotland. Fishermen brought in all sorts of tales from the sea. Now, there was a sea monster sighting near Loch Ness from 565 AD that had many articles refer to as the first sighting. It was not in Loch Ness, but in the River Ness. So, the only sighting of the Loch Ness Monster in the loch that was told before Crowley opened his little demon portal was from Alexander MacDonald. In 1888, he reported to the loch's water bailiff that he saw a stubby-legged animal cruising around near the shore. Which brings us to 1933. The water bailiff who took the first report in 1888 was Alex Campbell. Christ, another Alex! Campbell Alex was also a part-time journalist, and 45 years after his own sighting, he published an article in 1933 called Strange Spectacle in Loch Ness, which sparked the first known outbreak of Loch Ness Monster fever. It should be a dance. The article recounted the sighting of a whale-like animal by Aldi McKay. When interviewed in the 80s about her experience, Aldi said she was aware of the water beast lore at Loch Ness before her report, which seems obvious considering Alex Campbell took that report. Then, a sighting by George Spicer, published in the Courier 3 months after Campbell's article. George described a plesiosaur-type animal. Researchers at Columbia University claim to have proven this account was fabricated. They said George was inspired by the release of the movie King Kong that year. Now, I'm not sure how they proved that, but they went further to dismiss all of the accounts in the year for that reason. The first photo of Nessie was taken in November by Hugh Gray. He described to the Scottish Daily Record an object of considerable dimensions, but only provided one photo, not the others he took of the object. Later investigation into Hugh's account produced those pictures, and seems most people see a dog or an otter or a swan. So
it was an otter.
Nessie's a shapeshifter for now. January 1934, in the wee hours of the morning, veterinary student Arthur Grant was poking around the loch in his motorcycle when he spotted what he described as a plesiosaur seal hybrid crossing the road. Why does a plesiosaur seal hybrid cross the road?
Because it's an otter.
So Arthur then blessed the world with an adorable little sketch. However, zoologist Maurice the Party Pooper Burton examined the sketch and concluded it was an otter.
It was an otter!
Now we have a surgeon's photograph. Taken by Robert Kenneth Wilson while on a fishing trip with friend Maurice Chambers in the spring of 1934, this is the most famous of Nessie photos. After Maurice's death in 1994, he left behind some personal papers that revealed a conspiracy, fully debunking the photo as a hoax. The photo was actually taken by Ian Colin Marmaduke Weatherall. Ian Colin Marmaduke Weatherall, I just had to say it twice. Because nobody builds names like that anymore. The monster was constructed by Christian Sperling, who admitted to the hoax in 1993. And Wilson played the part of respectable, upstanding London surgeon. Although Wilson's dedication to the hoax floundered, and he did his best to distance himself from being associated with the photo, the British Medical Association fined him for a breach in professional ethics. Aww. The first film of Nessie was taken spring 1938 by a South African tourist named G.E.Taylor. Again enters Maurice Burton, who got his poopy little paws on the 16mm color footage and hoarded it upon release of his 1961 book, The Elusive Monster, where he shared one frame, saying it revealed nothing but a floating object. Okay, Maury. Okay, Maury. Later that summer, we have Chief Constable William Fraser. All the Frasers. He wrote to his superiors of a menacing hunting party descending on the loch. In this letter, he outlined how he had spoken to Peter Kent of London, and that Kent stated that he was having a special harpoon gun made, and that he was to return with some 20 experienced men on August 22nd for the purpose of hunting the monster down. The constable asserted that there is some strange creature in Loch Ness seems now beyond doubt, but that the police have any power to protect it is very doubtful. Constable Fraser warned Kent not to hunt Nessie, and it seems that the warning was heeded, as there is no further mention of Kent returning with a hunting posse. Nessie sightings during World War II were understandably scant, but they sparked back up again in the 50s and 60s. The famous Peter O'Connor photo that looks like a bag with a stick popping out of it, it turns out it was a kayak. But attention turned away from the loch and back to the Boleskine House in 1965, when its owner, an army major named Edward Grant, took his own life in what was Crowley's bedroom. Then, in 1970, Jimmy Page, famous lead guitarist from the band Led Zeppelin, bought the house, and we got to peek inside. Page didn't spend much time there. It was his pal Malcolm Dent that lived there and experienced all types of spooky shit. There were strange rumblings in the hallway. That would be the earlier mentioned Simon the Fox Fraser, 11th Lord of Lavat's head bouncing around. He heard what sounded like a wild animal snorting and banging outside his bedroom door. Was it Nessie looking for snuggles? Another friend who stayed there said she'd been attacked by some kind of devil, which sounds about right. Malcolm apathetically recounted chairs switching places, doors slamming open and closed, and carpets and rugs rolling up on their own. Over the next couple of decades, most of the bothersome activity at the house came from fans of Led Zeppelin and Crowley. Then the house burned down in 2015. Then the house burned down in 2019. A foundation was created, and they are currently rebuilding the Boleskine House, and it's supposed to be opening to the public in 2025. So did Crowley open a portal that let in an arsonist sea monster? Is the Boleskine House stuffed with demons? For now, we leave the house, the loch, and patiently await for the next chapter of tales to arrive.
Lord, visible and sensible, of whom is the presence, fast running about thee with annual and diurnal motion. Source of light, let thy perpetual radiance partner to continual labor and enjoyment, so that we are constant partakers of thy bounty, we may in our particular orbit give out life and light, sustenance and joy to them that revolve about us, without diminution of substance or effulgence forever.